Well, thank you for the opportunity to talk at the online Southern Valley Cotton Update. My name's John Hornbuckle with Deakin University, and today I'm here to talk about New Tech Integrated Smart Sensing and Automation for Cotton, which is a current project we've got running through the Smart Irrigation for Profit Phase 2 program, which is a larger initiative involving a number of irrigation industries. Before I kick off, just like to acknowledge my project team. Without them, this definitely couldn't happen. I just happen to be the spokesperson here today for it. So a big shout out to Rodrigo, Carlos, and Matt, who all contributed to this project in a big way. I also like to acknowledge one of our commercial partners who we spend a great deal of time with in terms of bringing a lot of this technology to a commercial reality, Padman Automation, and Grant Oswell and team down there who work quite closely with us on a lot of this tech. So just to recap, the project's overall aim was about taking smart sensing and linked automation to a reality for farmers. That was both from a practicality as well as dollar perspective viewpoints with the technology. So it was about having robust systems that are available commercially and that were at a price that's available to an irrigator to adopt the technology. And that's been our major focus throughout the project. So down the south during last irrigation season, our main field site was at the Irrigation Research and Extension Committee demonstration farm, where we had a field trial that was undertaken across the irrigated cotton, which was grown on 3 bankless irrigation fields there on site. These were fully automated using the IrriSense system with linked in-field sensing as well as automated gate hardware provided through the Padman seasonal auto winches approaches, which we'll talk a little bit about later. This allowed us to operate the bankless system in pretty much a cruise control, if you can think of it that way, system, in that irrigation decisions on when to irrigate and controlling during the irrigation events were controlled by the smart sensing in automation, which was installed across the field. So as mentioned before, our approach to smart sensing and automation is very similar to a cruise control within a car. So basically the system takes control of decisions both on when to irrigate and how to irrigate in an autonomous fashion. However, at any stage you can put your foot on the brake and override any of those decisions that are being made. So in order to determine when to irrigate, which is the first decision that IrriSense is making, we use an approach using a soil moisture tension network. So basically within each bay we have soil moisture tension sensors. We've found them very good. They don't need calibrating for individual soil types that are installed, and we combine that information with IrriSat and 7-day weather forecasts, and then we actually forecast soil moisture tension out 7 days in advance. This approach allows us to determine what the soil tension will look like when we're looking to irrigate, and also allow water ordering to take place as well. So there's some alerts within the system that'll actually send a text message to the irrigator 2 days in advance and say that we believe that the soil tension within that field will hit the predetermined level within 2 days, so you need to order water. So the irrigator will then order water, respond back to the system that water has been ordered, and so then the system will then move into a phase where it controls that irrigation event. So once water arrives and we start to irrigate, we then control during the irrigation event with water level sensors within bays. So 2 approaches we've been using is having water height sensors on the gates, which we've got out at IRIC, but also water height sensors in the field can be used as well, that we've used at some other sites to control irrigation events. So during the irrigation event, that water height is monitored on a 2-minute basis. Once it hits the required water level, that gate is then opened, and then it irrigates subsequent bays, and it works itself down each bay until it hits the last bay, and then closes gates based off that data. What we can also do as well is forecast what may happen in the last bay and shut off water inlets earlier, so that we reduce tailwater runoff with these approaches as well. So that's just a quick overview in terms of out at IRIC and using the IrriSense type approach of how we're making the decisions in terms of that autonomous fashion. Like I mentioned, it's all controlled automatically, but at any stage the grower can put his foot on the brake and override any decision which is being made. So the IrriSense interface, just a couple of quick screenshots that gives you a look. Operates off both. It's in a cloud environment, so it'll operate off both your PC, mobile, iPad, etc. within the field. We've got current status of what's happening with each individual bay that's available there. Weather parameters for the Pacific site as well as ET, and then also during irrigation events, and obviously the soil moisture, both actual and forecast, and then of course during the irrigation events, hydrographs of water inflows, water outflows within each one of those individual bays. Overall, like I mentioned at the IRIX site, I think we had, from memory, I think there was 6 or 7 irrigations which occurred. I'd just have to go back and check last irrigation season. All decisions were made by Irrisense on those, apart from one where Rob, the irrigation manager, wanted to bring that irrigation one day forward. So gives you an idea in terms of how robust the system is. It was able to operate that complete season, and also the value that it's got when you can set it in that cruise control approach and just let it make those decisions, but you've obviously got the ability to override at any stage if you need to. Overall, yield across those fields were 10.9 bales per hectare, which within last irrigation season, I think particularly for the southern cotton was a very good result with no quality issues across that cotton as well. Okay, so it's all well and good that it works, but what's it actually cost? So we've been doing some work with Ag Econ. So these are upfront costs that you can see in this chart using the Padman smart sensing and automation hardware that we've been working on developing. You can see that it ranges from $330 per hectare on 10 hectare bays down to $160 per hectare on 30 hectare bays. So you can see that cost per hectare is actually quite low when you look at other input costs that you may be putting into your crop. And then if you have a look at PV values, you can see that when we incorporate the water and labour savings, significant benefits from investing in that smart sensing and automation technology. Just also wanted to provide some links to some outputs from the project which viewers may find interesting and has some further information. The first one is a recent article in the Australian Cotton Grower magazine which outlines the approach that we've taken out at IREC and the results that we've had from that trial last year. That trial again will be repeated this year, and we're providing updates on that as well. Second one, if you're interested in terms of the IoT platform, the sensing networks, how it all works and links together at a more scientific level, check out the Sensors Journal article that's freely available on the web link there on screen. And lastly, the Smart Irrigation for Profit website. It's got a whole range of information that's available through a range of projects which have been done within that program. We've got all the information that you've seen here today that's linked within there, some short videos, etc. that also outlines some of the activities we've been up to and been doing. So it's well worth checking that site out as well. So if you're after any further information about what I've presented here today, please feel free to get in contact with me with the details that are there on screen. Also, if you're interested in the commercial products that we've been talking here today through our commercial partner Padman Automation, please feel free to get in touch with Grant Oswald, whose contact details are also there on screen. We've been developing some really interesting products that link that smart infield sensing to the automation, and a number of those products are currently available through the Padman Automation that you can check out on their website. Okay, I'll leave it there, and thanks for the opportunity to present on our project today.